Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic AMINAH. Our topic is window woes and avian perils, how to be proactive. And of course, we're going to be talking about how to stop, maybe, I don't know, we'll find out, but birds from crashing into our windows. Joining me is the star of our show and our expert. It's Pet Psychic AMINAH. Hello.
Yay.
Yay.
This is the easy way when you're supposed to be really quiet, and for some of us who have no cartilage, it's just like, oh, there you go.
It's like the confetti going up in the air.
And once again, Dr. John, it doesn't dawn on me because I don't think about our background when we're not together, but I absolutely adore our background. I'm a lime green girl all the way, favorite color, and you didn't know any of this when we did it. So what's fabulous is the organicness, not only of our trajectory professionally, but as friends, and really saying, I want to acknowledge again, wow, you did a great job here. It's perfect, because look at our topic today. Yes, when we were first working together, I felt like the fast slideshow thing to get people to see what we're talking about. But I'm going to talk to you today with our building behind us, our digital building, and look at if you look just off this side, ooh, I can do it. See that mark? Something in that office shows or is close to it. And then you've got black lines everywhere. So what this tells the bird population is, I am not air. I am not a hole in a rock. Or if you look above, ooh, look at me hitting 1,000 here. This opening in the tree says, oh yeah, you can just fly through here, because the assumption, remember, assumptions are bad. They get you in lots of trouble. Is that hole is all air and it's all sky. They wouldn't be wrong this time. That tree, hopefully there is no power line. This is very, very common. All the power lines have not gone into the ground yet, but I know a lot of companies, worlds, everybody's trying to do that, which is great. But if there's a power line under that, the bird's going to be going through full throttle. It's like you've decided to gun it to get home, get to the job, get to work, something on time better. And what you don't know is there's a 6-car pileup in front of you, and you gas it and you can't stop in time. So the birds are worried about that too. They need to stop in time. They probably have it pretty doggone good. There you go. There's some real broad ideas we're going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about how you can protect your windows and birds from your house, tree. Can't do it really with a car. That's a moving entity.
Fantastic. Just a quick digression. I was thinking of you earlier today as I'm standing in front of these two big windows, and I just watched the wildlife parade that goes on our patio. It's really amazing. It's almost like they own the patio.
For the afternoon, every afternoon, yes, in their mind, that's how it goes. It's like, Bob, you're not supposed to be here. Because they're doing it in their world. There is a hierarchy. There is always a hierarchy. Even if it's the tarantula over the bug. There's a hierarchy because tarantula has poison, bites really well, and the bug probably not. So think about this. There is a natural order to nature. And I don't mean just plants or just animals. It's all regulated. Certain plants need a lot of water. Certain plants need a little bit of water. Certain plants need soil that is darker than the sand it's in. Everything is important. Birds, what people are not finding out about and we're not talking about enough is the birds are literally breaking their neck. So if your bird, and this is your head right here, you're going to go in to the window thinking it's a tree, it's a whatever. If you use our background as a great example, that the tree you can see here over my head and my neck, you can see leaves and the reflection of the tree. So in the world of birds, that tree has a branch. So let's do this. So we have a branch. So they're looking for that black line, and they're going to take their talons or their little feeties, whatever type of bird you have, and they're going to rest there. But you and I both know, no, there's a whole bunch of glass. So what happens instead, Dr. Jacalyn?
They hit the glass.
And?
They die.
Yep. And it's a terrible death. This is not a quick, somebody shot him in the heart, you're gone. By the time the bullet gets to your heart, you wouldn't know anything. A lot of times. And I'm sure somebody's keeping statistics, but I find it incredibly heart painful for me. And so I didn't gather those numbers, but just know out there, there's thousands of birds that are getting killed a day. And if that's being sucked up in an airplane, which we all hear about those, they're walking around on the tarmac or something and off they go and the air pulls them in because they got too close to glass buildings and everything in between. So what we can do is what I'm here to cheer you on to do, and that is your own home. If you do not have blinds, wood, cloth, curtains, whatever, if you don't have your windows covered in some way, and it's just the glass, please consider putting up something that is only seen usually by the birds, and or if you get really, really close, think about that. If you're saying, I really want to see the outdoors, that's great. I am all for seeing outdoors, and I got plants by my windows, everything. I'm right there with you. So what's the difference is I've got a film on one where I don't see it when I look out. You might notice it in that it's not as bright or sunny, which will save your furniture. It will save all the sun coming in and baking you to death if it gets too hot at your place. So it's a really great way to regulate your home environment also and not have to pay for the air conditioner longer or the heater longer. Because once you take your hopefully dual pane windows and then you put a sleeve over it, and I'm giving it that name, in the industry, it is called many things. But what it does is it's a lot of time called bird glass film. So it's some version of that. I've seen about 5 versions of it. Talk to somebody who owns a pet store, and they might have a catalog that you can look at and or a company that they recommend, or talk to a vet, talk to a vet tech, anybody that, like me, is living and working in the animal industry for the betterment of their people and betterment of their pets. Because if we make your life better, I truly believe this, Dr. Jacalyn, that we're the team. You and I are giving this wonderful information, and we're supporting the population to do better. And all your shows are uplifting. And I have the blessing to be this part of the uplifting. When you go to buy something that is just a film, so just think of it that it looks like when you're inside, depending on the light of the day, remember, sunset, sunrise, all of that's going to change how much you see. It's going to be like you have a light sheer curtain on, and you can use a light sheer curtain. They also make this wonderful little peel off, peel on. Think of tape, but it doesn't actually work exactly like tape, but it adheres to the glass. Can you get it back off? Absolutely. And you need to look at the manufacturer's directions for that, because each one of the films that I'm talking about, they come in patterns. So like boxes, like the pattern behind me, they come in flowers, they come in animal pictures, they come in just really subtle lines. So if you look at the building behind me and these lines, that would be like they would make them about a ½ inch or an inch apart. No more. I can't imagine any of the ones I saw that were more than an inch apart. And Dr. Jacalyn, you know the answer to this. Why would I want that many lines? Why wouldn't I want like our glass building where they're at least 6 inches apart?
Because there's different sized birds, they have different eyesight, so you want as many as possible so that more birds can see it.
Absolutely. That's the absolutely first thing. And the next part of that is they think they can fit between there. That is the saving life part. So if you look at that line, it's the same. I'm going to use a person example. I'm laughing at my own comment. I haven't said it. It's fun being me. When you want to, let's say, you want to make a left-hand turn, you want to make a right-hand turn, and you got some yahoo who's at the stop sign for the last 2 years, and or even worse, a yield sign, and they're still there, and you're like, come on, I got to get to whatever, and you go around them, and what you don't see when you go around them is a big pole or big thing, and you didn't realize he was trying to figure out how to jog around that. So don't leap before you look. This is the thing. And birds are doing that a lot. They're going to hesitate because they don't want to get dead anytime. It's very tragic to find the birds dead on the ground. Big buildings, little buildings, your house, whatever. And the head is just flopping around. So you can kind of assume that they broke their neck. The only blessing I see there is that it was fast. Most of the time, not always. So you need to have that knowledge that we are literally, not only with global warming, not only with digging up all the open land with the trees, birds, and everybody having resources to eat there, and not poisoning our water. Luckily, we're taking out dams. We're still taking out dams. They started doing that a few years ago because they found out everything after the dam is dead. And people were not thriving. It's too bad that it has to come to people. People aren't thriving, not the world, not nature, not all the other things that brought us to this day. So think about if you were a bird and you're just looking around to land or whatever, and you see these little black lines behind me, and you think, great, I can perch there. So by the time you come in full force and they take that last moment to slow down, they're looking at something green and not understanding. So they still haven't stopped because they're under the impression that that black line is a stick to stand on. That's how they die. It's usually a traumatic head injury or some kind of broken limb and they can't get up. Nobody saw them. They landed on the ground and they die a slow death. That's the reality if we don't start realizing our windows being covered with something. If it's a curtain, great. If it's mini blinds, great. But you can also have the windows open all day long and really enjoy the weather is what I love to do. And sometimes I can't go outside. So you enjoy the rain or the sunny inside. Then you get these films. And what do they look like? So I pulled some basically placemats. Pulled some of those so I could talk to you about the dimensions. So Dr. Jacalyn, don't you think this placemat really would stop a bird from going through a piece of glass?
Absolutely. What are you proposing that we do with placemat?
And guess how much it cost me?
$1.
I think I actually got 2 or 3 of them for that price. But I'm not. A lot of people stop to do what we recommend. I've talked to so many people, and I do readings and do trainings, and then you say, well, why didn't you do that? Oh, I didn't have time. I didn't feel like it. It means I didn't sell it well. Okay, I gotta be, what is that, snake oil salesman? Everybody bought from him, right? Isn't that the history of our, our life?
Yes.
I had never thought of that before. Yeah, this is a fun night, fun day. Anyways, so be the snake oil person, but look at how simple I'm trying to make this. Just really, really simple. And if you look at the picture with our background, and now you don't see, you know, like mine from my neck down, this is not, I don't know, no, you can't see my finger, but I can see the shadows. So let's say you have a few of these. You could cut them up in the lines and just put the lines in there. You don't have to cover the whole window. A lot of people that I have tried to convince to do this, because they have a great deal of birds. It was not about the tools or the cost or anything. It was about they didn't want to bother. And honestly, luckily nobody said it to my face, but people have repeated it when a friend said it. And that's, why should I care? Isn't that the biggest question we should be asking first?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, isn't this the channel for equity and inclusion and everything great and happy? You have to care. You have to care about everything. Bees, honeybirds, honeybees, and snakes, venomous and otherwise. They're here for a reason. We didn't put them on the earth. We didn't put them in our lives. So maybe if you feel you have a higher power or have somebody that you really trust their opinion, check in with them. See what they think. There's a million books out there on bird strikes. How many times, I don't think we hear it anymore, Dr. Jacalyn, and I'm going to check with you because you probably have a lot more flight conversations about planes. But do you remember, I want to say it was probably the 80s I heard about it the most, but I was also in my animal science classes, you know, doing that college education thing. Striking planes was so common, it seemed like, in the 70s. I swear I heard it on the news like every month. Another bird, another plane went down, or they crashed, or because some of the birds are the whole flock and they don't realize the plane's going that way and the flock is in the way. So is that, do you hear about it anymore? I don't hear about bird strikes anymore.
Really.
You know, and do you know why we don't hear about it? Not because it's not popular. It's news. Everybody who does news does all the popular stuff too, and non-popular stuff. It's because the airline community, even private pilots, have upgraded their non-bird strike prevention. This is what I'm talking about. Something as simple as a placemat. This is a little thick, but what I'm talking about is their pattern. See how there's a pattern here, open space, pattern here, pattern here. You can get film that has flowers or trees or nothing and just little dots that can go on your windows, can go on your glass, can go on, I don't know, you legally couldn't do it on a car because your vision would be in dire need of wanting to look out that window while you're driving. But there's so many other places we can do this, and if we start in our own homes, is the best place to start.
So I have a question. So I'm just wondering, I know my mom used to put decals on the sliding doors so that, you know, people wouldn't walk into them. I guess birds wouldn't fly into them. So what are you proposing with the placemats? You're proposing that they get, as they are, taped or somehow put onto the window?
Just tape them. And what I love about them is that's not forever. I'm not recommending you super glue them down. You can do that if you want. But what I'm recommending is try it. Go to the dollar store or go to the fabric store. Believe it or not, they still exist. Some of us still sew. Not me, but some of us. And go and find wonderful patterns. Guess what? You can Google film coverage, window film coverage, whatever you decide you want to search. And there's so many online places that sell these beautiful lace. They actually look like real lace. So instead of you having to put up a bracket or something over your door or to the side, and you either can't, don't want to, or you don't like the look, then just do the glass. If you do 50% of the glass, it covered in something. So let's say you have a stripe, and then you have another stripe, and you have another stripe. You decide that I really like this pattern, but I don't want all of this pattern. It's a lot of pattern. So you can see there's a lot of pattern. So you could take one row and put that up, and then make a space and one row. Don't go over, I would conservatively say, don't go over 1.5 inches. Keep them as close as you can together. A bird will understand, oh, I can go through there, or I can't go there. And they have to see it coming. So this pattern in your area might not be bright enough. You might need the leaves because it's more color, more depth. And the animal will say, oh yeah, I'm not going to bump into that tree or branch or whatever their perception of that is at that point. What I'm asking you also to think about is from the bird's perspective. Go outside, stand where you think they would come in towards the glass, and see what you see. What's on the other side of your house? What's on the other house door? And what's on the in front of it? What do you need to cover? Do you want to just be really simple and take a piece of paper and tape it to the window before you buy anything? Sure, try it. Every life you save, if I can get you to do anything at all, just try it. And then you're going to find, oh, lace curtain works great. I never thought of lace curtains. I have the lace curtains upstairs. So what I mean by it, the pattern is so open that it looks like a piece of lace, but it's actually just a white, almost a clear curtain. So we would call it a sheer, something that like a lot of people put on the closest side of their house, their window, and then they put a darker solid piece, like the two placemats I'm trying to use as our little tutorial. So if you look, and Dr. Jacalyn, you can see this, right? The pattern you can see
Yes.
through this one, right?
Yes.
So that's exactly what I'm talking about. You can put lace, you can put a placemat, and maybe you get a placemat that's a solid color and not a pattern at all. You can go to the Goodwill and buy a ratty t-shirt or a piece of jeans or whatever, and you could really have some fun depending on the season. I have people in my life, they would say, great, we're going to decorate the door because of the glass. And it's like, great, look at it that way then. Look at it as the positivity of the lives you're going to save. And can you imagine opening the door and you have 4 dead bodies? Because once one bird does it, they do learn. But if they're all together in a flock flying, and they can see your table or chair or whatever through your glass door, they're going to go, hey, let's go check for food there. They don't have a concept of glass. What they will have a concept of, not enough to save enough lives, is last time we came to this opening, they don't have the vocabulary for door, Bob died. Chrissy died. Aunt Susie died. Whoever. And those would be like their bird family names or whatever I'm giving to give you an example. That it's got to be something you're doing that can be as simple as some lace. And they make curtains in lace. I did that all the time because I love the sun coming in and I have plants in the house. And a lot of them are right there by the window. So I went to lace. I went to the fabric store, bought some, sewed up the seams. If you can't do that, great. Just cut it into the shape and size you need. Hang it on a curtain rod. And all you have to do is put the hooks into the wall or into the area to hang the curtain rod. That's it. You can do the mats. You can make up your own. And you could have a great time if the window that you're the most concerned about is facing a neighbor. Can you imagine the most hilarity of the messages you could put up? I want this to be fun. I want you to want to do it for whatever creative reasons, because I want the bottom line to be lives were saved. And that's what we're doing, trying to help you learn how to save some birds' lives and do it simply.
And AMINAH, for anyone who happens to see a bird crash into a window, if they feel so inclined, can they try to help the bird or take the bird to a vet, or what do you suggest?
It needs to go to a vet and or a sanctuary. And they're all in the book. They're all in that yellow page book that is now digital. And talk to, if you can't find one, call your city. The city will have somebody they know, because what is the city doing? Building parks, moving houses, talking to their constituents, which is you and I, and all that kind of stuff. So use those resources. I think we as a community don't use these resources enough. Having worked for the city I live in currently, and having been raised by a woman who put in parks, so she worked with the city forever because the land was had to be owned by the city, and therefore the parks department, when they actually built it, because I grew up in a desert, it was just sand. There was a lot of sand, and the town was very young. So you have free resources. Call your city hall. Call anybody in City Hall if they, if even the janitor probably can tell you where it is, probably better, because they know the whole place so much better. Somebody who is actually, working in all the departments. But call your local government and find out, especially if I can get you passionate about all these deaths. We've got global warming, so we don't have enough food. We have all of the climate change, and we don't have enough water. Our native way of living is in dire straits. I can't stress that enough. But it's never too late to intervene and participate. And that's what I'm asking, is to think of something that is doable for you, sustainable for you. And if anything, you can put the film or a curtain or whatever on your window so the birds go, oh yeah, remember that doesn't work. Because they don't need to watch 3 of their friends die from hitting the glass. And then they see a table on the other side and go, oh, no, it must be different. I'm not there when the bird has that thought. So that's the guess I'm going with, that, why else fly into a window? Because they don't see glass. Yeah, but it's always been there. They don't see glass. If they see food or they see safety, let's say it's bad weather or they're being stalked by a bigger bird, I think we would all run into the burning building. If a man, woman, child, I hope not child, but that's bad use, somebody is chasing you with a machete. I don't want you. I'm probably going to go into that haunted house because that knife looks worse and painful. And in the haunted house, it's still unknown. So remember, just because you don't think it's important, are you going to wait till you have a bird that dies at your feet? Because
So
a
I
lot
have
of
a
times,
question about that, though,
yeah.
about the bird. So you see the bird fly into the window, you see it fall. Should you physically go and pick it up with your bare hands? Should you try to scoop it into a box while you're looking for the phone number to call the right entity?
Yeah.
How do you actually handle the bird itself?
Thank you. Absolutely vital. I would have kicked myself all week for not bringing it. That's why we are such a great team. So yes, and yes. Get either gloves on for you, and I'm talking about snow gloves, whatever you can grab, a paper towel, rubber gloves you wash the dishes with, whatever it is. What we're preventing is our oils and our scent going to the bird, because that's how you get kicked out of the nest in some places. And that's where an animal will say, oh, no, all I smell is carnivore, because that's what we are, especially in their their mindset of what we are and what we're doing. And they're like, hey, Bob, you look bad, but you smell bad. And that could get us killed. So if they're avoiding the humans, the dogs, and anybody else that can bite and hurt and kill us, and there's tons, humanity decimates wildlife on a moment by moment basis, not just car accidents. We're bulldozing over their habitats and we're taking their food sources. So you've got the bird, it's fallen, it needs help. Handle it with your direct hands at 0 if you can. If you can. I don't know if you're going to find this animal in the middle of the driveway of your neighbor's house and you haven't got a stick of anything but your blouse and your jeans on. If you were wearing a sock, I'd say go for it. Put the sock on your hand, have the animal, maybe you can reverse pull the sock and give a little support to the bird until you get it to the right person, sanctuary and or lost and found. The pounds and the places that do rescue and release and all that kind of stuff, you need to find somebody that can lead you to that. If you're not happy with the call you made, call the next one. But the police station should have a list of phone numbers. The rescues should have a list of phone numbers of rehabilitators and that can take the animal in. And you always, always feel free to take a picture of the bird. You do not need to know what kind of bird it is. That's a crow, that's a hawk, that's a pigeon, that's a bird that should not be here. You find a parakeet somewhere, that came from somewhere else. But we don't want it to be wild. Dr. Jacalyn, if I went to the pet store and I decided to adopt a parakeet, it's very common. They still have lots, right? I read about they're still doing tons of birthings and having birds. You know, these beautiful birds, and the parakeets are really great for small families and children. So if your parakeet gets lost, are you just going to leave them out there to fend for themselves? No. But also where I'm heading this is we don't want them breeding. In Florida, this is a huge problem with iguanas and people just throwing them out on the green, which is literally a golf course, people. There's not a lot of grass to eat because they don't grow it a lot tall enough. So whatever your animal is, you need to know what habitat and lifespan and all of these things and what injures them. And hitting the glass is a really big part of that. But it's also you need to have that care plan and you need the long-term and the short-term plan of what you're going to do. Because all animals, if you decide you want an iguana, absolutely terrific. Probably not a good idea to run around in your neighbor's yard without a leash. Because I know they have leashes. I've seen them, the little hardlers and the whole thing. But nobody wants that. Because they're eating all the bugs. They're eating your flowers. They're driving your neighbors crazy because they look like dinosaurs,
and they're
really tiny
ones in the bathroom all over the place.
Thank you. And now I you have to remind me, is this the squishy, birdy, gooey bathroom or the closer to the pet solid?
Well, they're solid, except if they're going number one, and then it's,
Yeah, no, number one is the like urination.
Right.
So that's the liquid part. But is it really acidic? Does it eat up your guys'?
I mean, I could see it outside right now. It's solid.
Enjoying the real thing.
So, yeah, that's something I think also for another program. But I know we talk about coexistence and sustainability and how important it is. And I think there's also an issue when you have a home and the wildlife is overtaking it. And that can be an issue because it's causing damage to your plants, to your landscaping, to your roof, to your house, to your walls, to your siding, to whatever it is.
Yep. And add to that the community probably hates you because, think about it, there's your house and you've got every 100 movies with a picture of this and they've got the birds here and the iguanas here and the horses here. And you're like, dude, you're not living in the middle of a rural area.
Right.
Where I had my horse at a ranch, that would have been appropriate. Go ahead, knock yourself out. That's what we do. But not in a residential area. not in a senior zone area, unless you were given, the size of the dining room tables for bunnies. I don't know. It's got to be appropriate for where you're at. And if you don't know and people don't know, rabbits are wonderful, but they get dropped and it ends up getting their legs broken or their back broken because you got a bunny for a 5-year-old. You're not capable of that agility when the rabbit goes, yay, I'm out of here. And then you got the scratches and the bites. And if you don't know, they have one of the highest acid contents in their urine.
Oh.
And I haven't looked this up since I was doing show rabbits. That's why I know so much about them. It literally, on the cages I had, after a while, takes a little while, the metal mesh that was the sides around the wood rotted. The metal, not the wood, the metal.
That's a lot.
Because it's so acidic. It is that acidic. And that's why we talk about have a potty place. Cat, dog, lizard, bird, I don't care what it is. This is where we do this. This is where we do this. It's a training thing. Will some decide to do this? Yeah, some will. Some you're going to have to really convince. And that's what bologna is good for. Except for the bird. Not the bird. Don't give bologna to the bird. Don't give bologna to anybody because it's a highly processed, but it makes a better joke. So think about not only what your treats are, it will help the behaviors problems. It will help with the urination, poop, where they're going. I don't know about you, but I would much rather get cat poop than cat pee when I have to, because I have 3 litter boxes because we have a big house. But one I'm not responsible for. That's my daughter's. But I clean them 2 times a day because I don't want my cats walking in it. And then we don't even wear shoes in our house. What would we?
I'm not wearing shoes either. I know.
But think about that cleanliness and that they're licking it off and it's all over your home and people wonder why they're getting sick. Eventually, it's not healthy. Even if you never get sick, I can hear one of you saying, "Oh, this isn't helpful because I never get sick." At some point, we all get sick. Whatever triggers you, whatever triggers me, it's different. We're all individual. What I'd like to encourage everybody is to live better, to love better, to be better, whatever that means for your life. And these are the funny ways to do it. But please, let's all start, especially with this topic, with birds striking buildings constantly. We are literally losing so many birds. If you look at, I believe it was Chicago and New York, just had a huge conversation about the fact that their death ratio for wildlife, mostly the birds, but wildlife in general, is up by like 80% because they now have so many high rises, like over 20 stories. It's not going to be survivable. We won't get to the end of our natural lives if we don't work together. And when these buildings are built, and now, it is still possible to put a film on and still get the enjoyment of the sun all day or the lighting that you don't have to put on the electric lights at the office. There are so many ways to cover a window that is not like a curtain where you can't see outside at all. And they make plenty of curtains that are see-through. And now the bird industry and the preservation movement and all of that is really getting people to ask for bird safety, ... bird safety windows, bird safety garages, bird safety, whatever. It's out there. You just have to be creative enough to ask. And I would start personally with somebody who has birds. I currently don't have any birds. I haven't had them for some time. My son Conyer was years and years and years ago. But talk to somebody that has a dog. If you want to know what the best dog toy, ask the pet owner that you really like who plays with their dog. Don't ask the bad one that never gets any toys or doesn't pick up their poop. Because don't get advice from people who can't even do the basics.
Exactly. Great point. Look to people who are doing things the way that you want that they should be done or that you admire and ask them. and you've given so much wonderful content for people just joining us. We were talking about window woes and birds flying into windows, and Pet Psychic AMINAH gave a lot of great information. Please do go check out the beginning of the show as well as the rest of the shows over on our YouTube channel, where we just crossed over 1 million views a week ago. So we are well past that. What's the best way for people to contact you, Pet Psychic? The Pet Psychic AMINAH. Do that.
The best way to reach me is the website. Then you can see basically my resume, and you will have the link to the Facebook. I am only on LinkedIn and Facebook. I do not believe in spending too much time on all platforms, because I know the right people will find me. And that is Bridging Worlds with an S .us. So BRIDGINGWORLDS@gmail.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for another fabulous show. We want to wish everyone a wonderful weekend. Find the joy in your heart, be kind to others, and remember that we have all kinds of education and information here for you. All you have to do is go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio, and you can find it there.
Great.
All right, we're signing off for now. Enjoy your weekend, Pet Psychic AMINAH.
Well, take care.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Look out for your birds.